I'm Bob Gallerstein with this week's look at the Metro Top 10 here on 1050ESPN.com, brought to you by Melrose Credit Union. If you know a deserving student athlete who you feel is worthy of a $5,000 college scholarship, just look right below where you see me, Melrose Credit Union. It says, click here. That's where you nominate the person. Person should be not only good athletically, but also academically, and be nice if he or she contributed to the community. So, $5,000 college scholarship to a deserving student athlete courtesy of Melrose Credit Union. Just nominate the person right below where you see me. Before we get into the top 10, I have to eat a lot of crow this week. My alma mater, Syosset, which was featured on last weekend of the 1050ESPN.com Game of the Week, lost the Nassau County Conference 1 semifinal to Farmingdale 29-8 in a game that was played at Hofstra. And I know that my heart was with Syosset. I had not seen Syosset play football since, I think, right after I graduated college at Ohio University. That was a couple of years ago. And they didn't... Farmingdale's just about... Farmingdale is a football factory, said in a very good light. Farmingdale has always had competitive teams, always had great teams in the youth leagues. When I was playing, I think it was in 5th grade in the Syosset school system, I was playing in the town league football. We had one team for each age level, each age grouping, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, and so on and so forth. Farmingdale had 4 per group, and that's why they've been so good over the years. But Syosset's program is improving. I think Paul Rourke has the program headed in the right direction, and maybe in a few years, Syosset can win its first Nassau County Championship since 1974, which was also when they were number 1 in New York State. New York State champions. That was before there was a state playoff as we know it today. Speaking of the state playoffs, I have to doubly eat crow because where I live right now, Monroe-Woodbury, I said here last week, I said here previous weeks, they would win the New York State championship. And if you live in New Rochelle, yes, you can get on my case because New Rochelle, 3 touchdowns in the second quarter. Dan Scala still without his top 2 receivers. Monroe-Woodbury quarterback could not compensate enough. And New Rochelle eliminates Monroe-Woodbury 21-14 in the state quarterfinals. New Rochelle is now going to face Saratoga Springs. I think they will win that game, and New Rochelle will go to the Dome. I think New Rochelle has a very good chance to win their first state championship since 2004 when Ray Rice played for the Huguenots. Number 1, Don Bosco, obviously moving with an easy game, 48-0 at the half against Red Bank Catholic. Seton Hall Prep this weekend. Seton Hall Prep has a good program. They can't compete with Don Bosco. Maybe Bergen, maybe St. Peter's can. We know that they can, actually, but not Seton Hall Prep. This game will be over by the mid-second quarter. And so that brings us to our numbers 2 and 3 teams in the poll, and that is Bergen Catholic number 2 and St. Peter's Prep number 3. They're playing the game at Caven Point. They're playing it in the evening. Caven Point, if you don't know, is right on the water. And being played in the evening, they're expecting... Well, there could be precipitation. There certainly will be wind, and I think that could affect the Bergen Catholic passing game. And because St. Peter's has a bigger line, because St. Peter's has Savon Huggins, I think that could be the difference. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a great game. I'm picking St. Peter's over Bergen Catholic, so it'll be St. Peter's against Don Bosco at Giant Stadium for the New Jersey Non-Public Group 4 title, which is essentially the championship of New Jersey. In a game that we'll have this week on 1050ESPN.com, Saturday, 1 o'clock, the Catholic High School Football League Championship game at Mitchell Field. Holy Trinity running the table, 10-0, against St. Anthony's, 9-1. St. Anthony's had won the CHSFL Championship the prior 7 years, except for last year when Iona Prep beat them. They are there every year. They are deep. They are the deepest program easily in New York State. But this is a Holy Trinity team that Andrew Gunling very correctly pointed out when we did a game at Holy Trinity in October. They just don't beat themselves. They will have to play a nearly perfect game, I feel. And Anthony Brunetti, I cannot wait to see him go against the St. Anthony's defense. If Anthony Brunetti, the great running back for Holy Trinity, who also plays at linebacker, can rush for close to 200 yards because they are largely a ground game, a ground rushing team. It's Holy Trinity. That's where their success is. They grind you down. Can they grind out St. Anthony's? I'm going to predict Holy Trinity here if they can prevent 2 things. 1, fumbles and interceptions. They have to play a near-perfect game. 2, St. Anthony's is so explosive. St. Anthony's in the first quarter against Holy Cross in the semi, 4 touchdowns. If Holy Trinity can prevent that and play a near-perfect game, I think Holy Trinity is going to win this game. and the Titans will win their first CHSFL championship since 1976 was the last time they were in the championship before there was a AAA ranking. Now, if that happens, I'll have to make a decision next week if the CHSFL champion vaults ahead of St. Peter's Prepper Bergen Catholic. We will address that next week. We have St. Joe's Regional. St. Joe's Regional is, they're going to probably play Immaculata in the non-public Group 3 championship. I may go with Immaculata in that particular game, but St. Joe's Regional has such great skill players, they just may edge that out. So that'll be addressed also in a couple of weeks, but St. Joe's Regional is 7th. New Rochelle, by the way, is number 6 in our poll. We have Fort Hamilton, and we could actually have the PSAL championship of Curtis versus Tottenville, which would be something. But Curtis plays Fort Hamilton, and I really think this is once again Fort Hamilton's year. And Fort Hamilton will, I think, play Tottenville in the championship of the PSAL. And that game we'll have here on 1050ESPN.com on November 28th. That's a Saturday, 12 noon kickoff. And Wayne Hills continues to be just as they are. They beat Northern Valley Otapan very easily this week, or rather this past week. And they're just well on their way to rolling to another sectional championship, the group championship in New Jersey. So we have so much to cover when we come back next week. Bergen, St. Peter's. Who will go on to face Don Bosco at Giant Stadium for the championship in New Jersey? Who's going to win the CHSFL championship? You'll find that out at 1 o'clock here on 1050ESPN.com. I'm Bob Gallerstein reminding you, if you know a deserving student-athlete that wants a $5,000 college scholarship, who doesn't want these days something like that? Right below where you see me, the Melrose Credit Union icon. It says click here, do that, nominate that person, a deserving student-athlete, good in athletics, good on grades, male or female, we don't care, and also pretty good in the community. And Melrose Credit Union will give a deserving student-athlete a $5,000 college scholarship. See you next week.